Welcome, everyone, to yet another week of the Nurse Kristen YouTube channel. And for any of you guys that are listening on the podcast, welcome as well. I am so excited this week. We have another amazing topic we're going to discuss, and it's for my nursing students. One of the big things that a lot of us dealt with, especially in nursing school, is stress, right? The amount of stress that you go through in nursing school, from those exams to clinicals to those sim labs and skills, like learning those skills and, really trying to perfect those skills, especially before you go into the clinical setting. Just like the family dynamics and trying to manage your time and organize, and there's so much that goes on. And if you are someone even that's working still, whether it's part-time, whether it's full-time, there is so much stress in nursing school when you are in school. So this episode is really to help you guys find ways of relieving the stress. So it's going to help you manage your stress a little bit better, different techniques that you guys can try out while you're in school to help manage stress, because it is super uber important to manage your stress when you're in nursing school. Because as we all know, if you're not managing your stress wisely, if you're not having outlets in a safe manner of being able to manage the stress when you're in school, it can really get a hold of you, and it can really cause a lot of issues, from getting sick and not being able to focus on exams and not pass exams, and being extremely tired, and just all these like negative things that can happen whenever you're stressed. And we want to make sure that we're eliminating those, making sure we're finding ways of being able to manage the stress effectively when you're in school. So I have 7 amazing tips that are going to help you help manage your stress while you're in nursing school. And some of these I did myself as well, that I felt like was super beneficial. And I also don't even feel like it has everything to do with nursing school, but just generally how to manage your stress. So even when you start working as a new grad, once you're out of school and as you're a nurse even, these are going to be amazing strategies for you guys to implement today. So let's get into it. So Kristen, you're going to be like, what are ways of managing your stress when you're in nursing school? Like, what are you going to be telling us? So tip number 1 that I wrote down here is planning and prioritizing everything wisely when you're in nursing school. So if you're not planning ahead, if you don't have a planner, if you're not writing down your exams, if you're not writing down when you have clinicals, and organizing yourself wisely and knowing when to study for things, it's going to stress you out, right? I think for a lot of people, it's going to cause that anxiety and that stress level to just rise and rise and rise, especially if you're not organizing your time. The more you organize your time, the more that you're prioritizing things, getting things done in a timely manner, you're not going to feel as stressed, right? Because you're going to have things organized. You're going to have things completed. Like doing things ahead of time even will help you manage that stress, because you're going to have done it. You're not going to be the procrastinator that is doing things the very last minute. So managing, planning, and prioritizing your schedule. Make sure you guys are writing everything down in those planners once you know you have something due. If you have a project you're doing with a group in your school, if you have a clinical coming up, make sure you guys are writing all of this stuff down, because if you don't, you're going to find you're going to forget things, or you're not going to have studied in a timely manner, and you're going to be procrastinating. It will bring so much stress if you guys aren't planning your time ahead and prioritizing things ahead of time. So make sure you guys utilize those planners. Make sure you write everything down. Make sure you're not making yourself more overwhelmed than you already are, especially in this nursing program. So make sure you guys really, really plan and prioritize. That is my number 1 tip. Number 2 tip that I have written down, make sure you guys are getting plenty of rest. I cannot emphasize enough how much sleep is uber important when you're in nursing school. You have to make sure you're prioritizing that. One of the main things is, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be crabby. There's a lot of people, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be crabby. You're going to be super tired. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to focus. You're not going to be able to really endeavor on what you're learning. You're going to be too tired. Your brain's going to be too tired. Your brain's basically going to be like, Kristen, or Olivia or Mark or whomever, you're too tired. I can't function under 2 hours of sleep. And you can't expect me to then try to put all this new information into me today and feel like I can be the best version for you and be able to remember this down the road and be able to have you work at the utmost degree, right? It's not going to happen if you're not getting enough sleep. And able to really get yourself to focus and able for your brain. As we all know, when you sleep, that is a time for your body's recovery period. So that is when your body is, really getting into, getting over if you were sick, if that was making sure if you were someone that worked a long hours. It's basically trying to get your body back to a normal homeostasis rhythm of being able to rest. We all need, it is uber important that we rest. It's so, so important. And especially when you're in nursing school. So making sure you're getting enough sleep, managing the stress is super important. It's going to help you being refreshed, being energized every single day whenever you go to school. If you don't, it's going to hinder you. It's going to really hinder you in school. And it depends. Like you might be, Kristen, well, how much exactly is enough sleep for you to have to get? Well, it really depends. Everyone's a little different. Now for me, I need about 8 hours of sleep every night, at least at minimum, for me to feel like I'm rejuvenated and refreshed. There are people that can go 5 hours and they feel completely refreshed and they feel like they can take on the day. It really just depends on you, honestly, and what is enough sleep for you. I would definitely say a minimum of 5 hours, like 5 to 8, 5 to 9 is like a really good range, but it really depends on everyone. So kind of see for yourself, like if you get 5 hours and you feel great. If you're like me and I need 8 hours, 9 hours, and then some coffee even afterwards, great. But you need to make sure you guys are prioritizing the sleep. It is so, so important when you're in school. So that is my tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 is practicing relaxation techniques. And I know for any of you guys that have followed me for some time, I have really engaged in doing a lot more yoga and a lot more meditation in my mornings, which is a really, really good way of refreshing and completely just zoning out from everything and everyone around you and just being within that moment where you're at kind of refreshes your brain. It just takes you and starts your day off to a really good start, honestly. If you've never tried meditation, it's just a really good way of being able to sit in quiet. You can even have really nice meditation music. I have it on. It's just super relaxing. And just refreshes your brain, and it really does help it manage your stress, right? This is what this entire thing is all about, is managing your stress. So meditation is a really good way of that. Yoga is another really good way of that. Deep breathing exercises. We did this before taking exams, actually, because obviously when you go into exams, you're high stress and high anxiety going into any sort of test. So going in and actually doing some deep breathing exercises of just taking in a deep breath through your nose and then out your mouth, and doing that 5 to 10 times really does help get rid of that stress and put you in a zone of just calmness and just kind of really feeling a lot more at ease and kind of focus. Definitely helps with stress. So I definitely do that as well. Even just when I'm feeling stressed out now, I'm not even in nursing school anymore, right? But just general workday, if something happens and, brings a little bit of stress or anxiety, I take a minute and just sit there and do some deep breathing exercises. And that helps to kind of bring me back to a calm. So a lot of people do that. Yoga, like I mentioned, incorporating any of this into your daily rituals, even like I mentioned, it wasn't something I just did every single day. It was something I incorporated over time that became a habit. And they always say, if you do something for 21 days, will it become a habit? It was something I just engraved in doing yoga, meditation. Journaling has been a new thing for me. I have done and been a big journal person and writing everything down every single day, every evening. So that's something that you can also do to help manage your stress, is kind of journaling every evening, writing down your thoughts, how you're feeling, what's been going on, is really beneficial as well. But this is definitely a really good way of managing stress, is these kind of relaxation techniques. So meditation, yoga, deep breathing, journaling. Those are really big things. You could do these every single day. Super beneficial. Definitely helps manage stress. So that is my tip number 3. Now, tip number 4 is a really big thing, and a lot of people do this to manage stress. You will notice a lot of people will exercise, right? Exercise, as we know, guys, super important for your overall health, cardiovascular health, stress management, boosting those serotonin levels. So anyone that's depressed, it's so beneficial in so many other ways, but just generally for your overall wellness, Exercising is very beneficial for stress. Like you'll notice a lot of people that will go for a run if they're feeling stressed and need to clear their head. Working out, working out the muscles, doing some weight bearing exercises is amazing for stress levels. Really boost those serotonin levels, okay? So if you're not one that does exercise, you don't need to go crazy. You don't need to go and, be some bodybuilder or anything in the gym, or, you don't need to go run 5 miles a day or anything like that. It is recommended about doing 20, 30 minutes a day of just at least moderate exercise. So this can be going for a walk. Just go for a leisure walk around your block. It could be maybe a little of a jog if you're a jogger. It can be, weight bearing exercises. Like for me, like I mentioned again, like I'm a big yoga meditation person, but I have incorporated a lot more like muscle bearing kind of exercises for myself. So exercise definitely helps with stress. A lot of people do it for stress, and a lot of people obviously do it for health benefits. So incorporate doing some sort of exercise. Take 20 minutes a day just to do something to help with stress and manage your stress. So exercise, that is an important one. That's my tip 4, not step 4, tip 4. Tip number 5 I have, you guys, for managing stress. Staying connected to family and friends. And what I mean with staying connected with family and friends is you're going to find if you're by yourself a lot and you don't have a lot of support, it's hard to manage and think things through without having someone to go to for support and talk things through, and just having someone listen to like what all you have going on, especially in nursing school, right? It's super stressful. And sometimes it's just a matter of having someone listen to what all you have going on, what is stressing you out, what even the good things, right? It's not even having to be what is stressing you out with just school, but just someone to listen to bounce ideas off of. It could be even another nursing student, a nursing mentor, another nurse. It doesn't even have to just be family and friends, because as we know, they don't know the medical field, or maybe they're not a nurse. Like they don't understand what you're trying to explain to them that is really difficult or hard in your program. So maybe sometimes even just talking to someone that is in a nursing program or has been in a nursing program that's a nurse now, that you can have that help and support through. It's really important to feel that support. And I feel like, especially when you're in a very vigorous nursing program, it's really important to have an outlet to go to, even counseling if you need to discuss any really hard, difficult situations that you're going through, is really beneficial and helps with those stress levels, but also just your mental health, I think, is really, really important. And as we know in today's age, mental health is so, so important. So it's really good to have a family or a friend member, nursing mentor that you can talk to about everything that you're going through, all the stresses that you're going through, because it definitely does relieve stress if you have an outlet to discuss these things too. It's very, very important. So find that person, family, friend, nurse, nursing mentor, counselor, even anyone at the school. So any counseling services in the school, any administrator that you can talk to, is very beneficial. So make sure you guys look into those kind of resources. They're everywhere and anywhere. Whatever you feel comfortable with, definitely do. It can definitely help you with your stress levels, especially going through a vigorous nursing program. Okay. Tip number 6, we're moving right along. Tip number 6, guys, make sure you guys are taking breaks and engaging in self-care. I wrote this one as like, aside from getting enough sleep, this is another really, really big one that I have incorporated a lot in, especially within the last couple of years. I never did this actually in nursing school. So I want to emphasize this because I did not do this when I was in nursing school. And I found this to be the utmost importance, especially when I started working as a nurse and as a new grad, right? You're under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, so much anxiety. It is so, so important to practice self-care, okay? Now, self-care, you could be like, Kristen, what do you mean by self-care? What do I need to do for self-care? It's different for everybody. Self-care can be anything. It is basically what brings you joy and happiness that is going to help you relieve stress. Now, for me, I could give you some examples. It's reading. I've loved reading. I now read 2 to 3 books a month. It's been one of those daily habit things that I have really loved to do. Reading is a stress reliever. Baths. I love taking really relaxation bubble baths. That is super distressing for me. I can just relax. Is a really good self-care. Facials. Going and doing facials, maybe getting a mani-pedi can be a really good self-care. Maybe making a really nice meal, going out for a meal, going out with friends and family. Maybe it's just sitting around watching Netflix, catching up on a show, listening to a podcast that's super inspiring and motivational and all of that. Like self-care can be very different for everybody. Maybe it's going for a hike. Like I said, it's very different for everyone, but it is so important no matter how busy your schedule is. And I get it, right? Like nursing school is super, super stressful. I have been there, done that. It is very stressful and it's very busy. And I get it. It's very time consuming. I even worked a full-time job. So I know the time consuming consumption of working a full-time job and going through nursing school. So I totally get where everyone's coming from, but it's still very important to take time out every single day to do something for yourself. Very, very important and able to relieve the stress. Like you have to have an outlet to relieve stress. And every day there needs to be something that you're doing to help relieve stress. So self-care, super, super important. I hope any and all of you guys incorporate that every single day in nursing school. Doesn't matter what it is, whatever it is that helps you relieve stress, do as much of it as you're able to. I promise you, it's a deal breaker. That's all I have to say for a lot of people. It's a deal breaker. It helps. It really, really helps. Okay. So that's my tip number 6. Now we're getting to my tip number 7. Tip number 7, seek help if needed. If you're feeling super, super overwhelmed, like I mentioned, guys, mental health is a big deal these days. And going through nursing school, and when you go through a program that is super stressful, brings a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotions, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs in nursing school. You're going to have moments where you're, really high on, I got my first IV, I got an A on my exam, or I passed my exam, right? Like, who cares if I got an A? If I passed it, I passed it. Like, honestly, I've been there, done that, right? But you're going to have those moments where you're going to be like, I'm having the best day today in nursing school. And then you're going to have like the worst days where you failed an exam, like completely failed. Been there, done that. I had completely failed an exam. And it was the most stressful time I had. And I was in tears and I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to come back from this. I totally like failed, right? Or maybe you totally failed. Like you went to clinical and you just, it didn't matter what was going on. You didn't do any skill very well, or maybe you were told you need to practice this, or you need to do this, or you need to work on this. These horrible days, right, can get you down. So that's what I mean. Like nursing school, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. So mental health, you're going to be way up here, way down here. If it gets to the point, like even like having the family support, friend support, uber important, like I mentioned before, which is one of the tips, is making sure you have that kind of support system. But sometimes it's getting help from a counselor. I have gotten help from a counselor. I have actually seen a counselor for a lot of things. I mean, I have been, I've had depression. I have had those moments where I have been low of lows, right? And I have sought help and I have had a counselor, and having a third party person that, can talk you through everything you're going through, all your feelings, all that is happening in the moment that you're in, can be very, very beneficial. I can't even, schools, a lot of schools have these kind of resources. I want to emphasize that too. So in your program, make sure you guys are utilizing those resources. Find what kind of resources your school has available for you. I promise a lot of them do have resources available that you guys can do and make time for. So if you need that, take advantage of it. Please take advantage of it, because nursing school is very hard. Nursing school is very stressful. It brings a lot of anxiety. It brings a lot of just stress, like, right? This is what this entire episode's about, is managing stress. So if what you need is counseling services, seeking help that you need, please make sure you guys are doing that. It's very important to help you deal with what you've got going on in front of you, help you manage the stress that you have going on in front of you. Seeking that kind of professional support can also be super beneficial. So make sure you guys are doing that. So all in all, those are my 7 tips for everybody. So just to kind of cap everything I talked about for these 7 tips. Number 1, make sure you guys are planning and prioritizing everything. So that obviously will bring stress if you're not organizing yourself. So make sure you got a planner, write all of your stuff down, what all you got going on. Number 2, getting enough sleep. Very important. Make sure you guys getting enough sleep. Number 3, relaxation techniques. Okay, so practice yoga, meditation, deep breathing, whatever that might be that helps you. You can even do deep breathing, like I said, before an exam. It actually really, really helps. Give that a try. Number 4, exercising. Okay, definitely relieve stress in whatever way, capacity that you're able to. 5, staying connected to family and friends. Okay, having that support system can definitely help with stress. Having someone to talk to, someone that can listen to everything that's going on. Okay. Number 6, taking breaks. Self-care. It's probably like my top one aside from getting enough sleep and getting the support. I mean, all of these actually are really important, but self-care is definitely up there. And then 7, seeking that kind of support from counseling services, professional services, any resources that your school may have. Please take advantage of those. They are very, very beneficial. Okay. So with all of these, this has everything to do with just dealing with stress. So I hope that you guys start to incorporate this. And if you do, let me know, and then put a comment of what you did, what you're trying out, what's working for you, or if there's anything else that you guys are doing that is helping you with stress. I would love to hear from you. Comment below on what you guys are doing and letting me know, or DM me. You guys know where to reach me on Instagram, obviously here on YouTube. You guys can leave a review on a podcast. Reach out. Let me know what you guys are doing. What's helping you relieve stress? Or if any of these you guys are doing, let me know. I want to know how it's working for you guys. And hopefully any and all of these strategies are helping you guys manage your stress while in nursing school, that you guys can get through much better and able to just manage your stress more wisely. Okay. So again, thank you guys for tuning in through the YouTube, through the podcast this week. And again, next week, we're going to have another amazing topic. I'm excited about the next topic. Like I am every week, I have an amazing topic. But until then, thanks again, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks, guys.